You are fiery.
Yeah, I'm very fiery.
That's the problem that we have. You're fiery, but we've never seen you fiery at him.
You want to see me pop off the way you pop off.
I've seen you pop off to everyone.
Correct.
But pop off to your man that has done you wrong.
Oh my God, I really love the response to episode 31. Thank you very much to everybody who's watched it. And if you're new here, welcome on board. Let's go. Tori, I don't even know what to say. Given the fact that she has smoke for everyone, when people start holding her accountable and sort of giving her the mirror to look at herself and tell her, you've got smoke for all of us, but you don't have smoke for this jackass sitting next to you. Make that make sense? And then she starts going into attack mode. Oh, once this experiment is finished, I don't want to see you all and you can all laugh at me. And it's like, oh, please. There's more to life than that. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 11, Episode 32. Here one more time about Sarah and Tim working on their connection. I'm going to scream because this has been the same song since the turnaround after she was collared by the experts for not going on dates with her husband and ignoring him. So I've had enough. I don't want to hear anymore. Let them break up. When are they breaking up? Somebody please tell us. Anyway, so you have Lauren. I'm happy Lauren is back because it's going to be messy. Last week's dinner party wasn't as, she wasn't there for last week's dinner party, so I can't wait for this week. Anyway, so you have Lauren sort of having a conversation with Jono, and she's talking about the fact that she doesn't understand what's happened to their friendship with Tori because they hit it off at, the bachelorette party, and then since then it's just been a mess. And it's been a mess because Lauren has been telling Tori things that she doesn't want to hear. She doesn't want to hear how bad her husband is. And because Jack knows that Lauren can see through the BS, this is why he's trying to turn Tori against her friend. And so for Lauren to say everybody checked on her when she had the procedure, but Tori didn't, it's like, how terrible of a friend are you that you couldn't even send a get well soon message or how are you doing? And then you have, Tori saying, oh, well, she sent me a text message, which means she's okay. And it's like, oh my God. You've really turned into Jack, haven't you? You've become so mean-spirited, so vindictive, so evil like Jack. Sorry, I don't know him as a person. I don't like to label people that I don't know. But that's the way she's going. I don't get it. I don't get the clash, and I can't wait for them to face off. One thing about Lauren is she's going to stand on business, 10 toes deep. She will not mess about. She is going to hold them feet to the fire. And so we'll see how Tori sort of comes out of that. And you have Tori speaking to Jack and she's sort of saying, oh, well, I can't stand. So Jack has managed to manipulate her to hate her friend. And for her to stand and say, oh, I can't stand her. We were friends, but now we're not because, she always has to find a problem. And it's like, because there's so many problems. If red flags were a person, Jack would be it. Jack would be it. Not because that's the color he is, his complexion, but he is so many red flags. He's disrespectful, he's derogatory, he's manipulative. He is everything you don't want in a husband or everything you don't want in a partner. So I don't get why you don't say it. And for her to be bragging about having sex with him, I don't get it. He says it works and it's like, what? Does it normally not work? Were you not expecting it to work? Did you take something to make it work? Make it make sense. This man doesn't like her. This man likes the fact that he's getting to break her down on national TV for everyone else to see because she came in saying, I'm an alpha female, I'm strong, I'm paid big bucks, to break grown men. And yet this little boy is playing her like a football. He's playing her like a football. He's embarrassing her. He's saying some of the most disrespectful stuff and behaving in such ways that you wouldn't want your worst enemy to be saddled with. And so for her to sit there and be smiling and all giddy, oh, we had sex. And it's like, oh my God. I would rather not have sex and have someone who's compassionate, empathetic, understanding, loving, caring, everything good than to have sex. So the idea that you feel like you won the prize by having sex with Jack, hey, kudos to you, to each their own. So you have Jade and Ridge. Ridge, I think we underestimate Ridge. I think a lot of people actually underestimate Ridge. I think Ridge is very mature, he is emotionally intelligent given the work that he does, but he chooses to put on a persona whereby he says some of the most silly and inappropriate stuff. And I think this is because of who he's aligned himself with over the years, be it a way of distressing after work. I work in healthcare. I know there are things that I do to sort of shut my mind down. Otherwise, you'd be depressed, you'd be on medication, you'd be in counseling all the time because the job can be stressful. So I think he's got the capacity to sort of be emotionally intelligent. I think he's got the capacity to be a loving partner to someone. I think he's got the capacity to be a great stepdad to someone. But the thing is, it's him realizing that it's now time to move on and sort of letting go of his persona, the D's, the whatever. It's time to let go of that and step into his new role or into his new self. Because through the experiment, he must have grown. He must have seen different sides of himself that he likes and that he wants to develop. I don't believe he's as immature as the producers are making him out to be. I fully believe that there is capacity there for him to actually be a loving and caring husband to not only Jade but to her daughter. So yes, Jade is right to be concerned, but I think there's more to Ridge than we're being shown. I think if that's all he was, no amount of sex would have kept Jade around, because obviously it seems like she's someone who's very articulate, she's emotionally intelligent, and she has her daughter's well-being at hand, and she always has to prioritize that over everything else. So I don't think she would have just, been putting up with this guy because, he gives a couple of kisses, they have sex. No, I don't think so. I understand her concerns. I like the fact that she set a deadline to say, if in 3 months he hasn't made moves or he hasn't shown me that he's fully committed to making this relationship grow and making sure that we become stronger as a couple, then I'm moving on. I give her credit for that because her mom and sister had said that she struggles to let go. So at least she's making plans. Sadly, you have Lucinda, who's come back from Tim's house. Obviously, she still feels some type of way. The problem with Lucinda and Tim is because Tim was so broken, Lucinda tried to help build him. And in her attempts to build him, she put herself on the back burner and sort of focused on his wants, his needs, and was able to help him have the breakthroughs that he needed. And because they prioritized him, he forgot to look behind him and sort of say, what do you need or what can I do for you? And this is why Lucinda is in the situation that she's in, because Tim got used to him being prioritized, whereas before he used to prioritize other people. And so when Lucinda then turned around and said, what about me? This is what I want. He became confused and he lashed out. And sadly, at times, we tend to lash out to the people that are nearest to us or the people that care about us the most, because we know that they're not going to go anywhere, whereas people that don't care about us will just move on. And sadly, this is common nature. If anyone looks into their life, you'll find that at times you lash out to those that are nearest and dearest to you instead of, showering them with love, kindness, compassion. I like the fact that Lucinda said she wants to have a conversation with him, and I know she's not going to have a screaming match with him. She's going to sit him down, have a conversation, tell him what she wants, set the boundaries, and see where he goes. I did watch her interview. It seems they're in good books now because of how defensive she was about him, and the fact that he did an interview somewhere and said they speak every day, the video call. So they must be in a great place, which I love for them. Tim on his part is now, he's decompressed and now he sees where he's gone wrong. This is why he was saying, I'm a simple man. I just wanted to come to me and tell me the truth. I'm open to hearing her. And sadly, when they went home, I feel like, because in an interview she said, there was a 20-year-old living in his house while he was filming the show. So I think walking into his house and seeing it the way it was and everything else that was going on, the emotional baggage he had offloaded while he was on the show, and then came back to his environment and realized that my environment is still the same. Do I still have the baggage or not? I think this is why he was struggling. He was having this tug of war. And so it took him having a moment, processing what he had gone through, and then being ready to move on. So I can't wait to see their conversation. Okay, I never thought I would say this, but anyway, I remember having questions about Jaden and Eden, and then going off Jayden after he had the issue with Timothy and Lucinda. And now, if you were to ask me who are the master manipulators on this show, I would say Jack, Sarah, and Eden. Eden, her relationship was moving amazing. And then she decided to put Sarah in trouble because for some reason, best known to her, she decided to reveal that Sarah was cheating and then suddenly used Sarah's cheating as something to hide behind because she kept saying, oh, people are going to judge me, people are going to do this. Because she wasn't getting the attention that she needed, she used Sarah's incident to get her attention. I'm sorry, I don't know her. This is my assumption. And then after that, she then came back with another allegation against Sarah when she saw that that one was dying down, so that she could be in the mix of that. And now they went home. She's been told, I think she's been told that Mitch took Jayden aside and sort of told him that you can't let this woman run you. You have to set boundaries. And now she's crying, oh, I can't go to these events. They make me very anxious. Oh, you want to... And it's like, you signed up to the experiment knowing that you had this anxiety that was crippling. You came onto the experiment all the first couple of weeks when you're not in trouble. You were happy to come to the party. Now that there's an issue in your relationship or you have issues with other people, you don't want to go. Why? Because you don't want your feet to be held to the fire, but you're happy for other people's feet to be held to the fire. No, if you were quick to sort of hold Sarah to account, you need to go and people need to hold you to account. There's no crying, she's using tears the same way Sarah used tears on Tim just to get out of trouble. I hope they go. I can't wait to see if they do turn up. So people start showing up for the dinner party and you have Lauren and Jono arrive as the first couple to arrive. They're in a great place. We know they're in a great place. Well, for now, because we know Jono is seeing Ali, so I'll always say that. And then you have Sarah and Tim. Sarah and Lauren have become close throughout the experiment, so they seem to be in a good place as well. Tim somehow seems to be happy, and I don't know how he's got over Sarah's indiscretions, whether there's been other conversations that have taken place, because the last time we saw him, he was saying he needs to address it more and he needs to sort of set boundaries. So I don't know whether they've managed to do that. You have Ridge and Jade come in. Obviously, they are sort of still reeling after the home visit. I personally don't understand why Jade's back goes up. Because Ridge, if he's employed, he still needs to give notice to his employer to say, I am leaving. I'm moving closer to my girlfriend. He still needs to find a job. He needs to serve out his notice. So it's not like he's going to be, able to say, turn around the next week and say, okay, here I am. At least they can make arrangements for him to come down maybe once every fortnight or something like that, because Jade might not be able to go because of her daughter. So I don't think it's that deep. Lucinda then arrives and sort of, I like the fact that she didn't drag Timothy. She just said his home was sticky. She could have easily said, oh, that was the messiest place I've been in. But she didn't say that. She left it to people to make assumptions. Obviously, she did talk about the fact that she felt uncomfortable. We all know she felt uncomfortable. She really tried her best to sort of feel at home. But because Tim was going through a lot, she felt uncomfortable. And you can't knock her for that. At times I defend Ridge and then I feel like a fool because I feel like maybe I'm just imagining things, but then he does things that make me see that actually I am seeing the truth, or even though you sort of get glimpses of it, because he lets the group know, because people are asking, do you think Tori and Jack had sex? And Jade reveals that yes, they had sex and they let Ridge know immediately. And Ridge is trying to get Jade to stop talking and you can see him sort of signaling and people are asking him, tell us, what did he say? And he went, no, let him come and say whatever happened himself. And it's like, wow, that's quite, mature of him, because you'd have expected him to take out his phone and start saying, oh, here it is, this is what he said, and then it later came out that he used a wind emoji, and they're sort of questioning, what does it mean? Does it mean he's out of there and he's done with Tori, or what does it mean? Well, I've sort of looked it up because I wanted to know. Apparently, well, it says wind face emoji. It means expressing feeling of being blown away, overwhelmed, or surprised. And the wind emoji actually represents feeling of exhaustion, smoking, and exhaling. No, that's not it. I can't actually see the wind emoji on its own. I can't see what it means. If somebody knows what it means, can you leave a comment, please? Anyway, so you have Jake and Tori arrive, and you can see everybody's not impressed. People are not feeling it because people are questioning: did they have sex because they were emotionally there, or did they have sex just to tick it off the bucket list? And so they go, they get their drinks, they come back, and Tori's about to go and sit with Lucinda, and Jack immediately tells her, "No, don't go. They come here." And you can see the master manipulator at play, and the fact that Tori is allowing herself to be manipulated by this man doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, they go, they sit down, they have their, they start having a conversation, and then everyone asks them, also, did you have sex? And they're like, yes, we did. When did you have it? How was it? And the way they were so, matter of fact about it makes me believe that they didn't have sex. They had a conversation of what they would tell people when they came back, but I don't think they had sex. I think they agreed that when we get back and they start asking us, did you have sex? Did you have sex? Because it seems everybody's is sort of obsessed with our sex life. Let's just tell them that, yes, we did have sex and leave it at that. Let them tell them we had sex, because they were very formal in how they described it. Sort of like, like it's something that needed to be done. And then once they did it, that was it. They were sitting very far apart, and it's like, what's going on? Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. And then Timothy walks in. Timothy, you can see, as soon as he sees Lucinda, he was anxious, I think, because he didn't know how she would receive him. So the fact that she stood up and went to greet him, you could see him very, very relaxed and very comfortable. And he actually she went with him to the bar, and he said, okay, I know we need to talk, but can we just wait a moment and then we'll have a conversation? And she was fine with it. He got her a drink, and I'm like, oh, you can see he's happy to see her. You can see he knows what he did was wrong, because he said, oh, as soon as I saw Lou, I was very happy. And it's like, well, if you're happy, if she makes you happy, she makes you comfortable, she makes you feel cared for, don't you think you need to sort of do the same for her? If she is filling your cup, why can't you fill her cup? Jade and Eden are the last ones to arrive, and I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but Mitch was right. I hate to say it, but Mitch was right. Mitch was right to say that Jayden is being controlled by Eden. And this is evident because she's now using sort of her anxiety as an excuse for why she doesn't want him to say anything. She's worried that whatever he says, people are going to see that she's actually been running this relationship, and yet she's been pretending to be very innocent and naive to what was going on with them. Because even when everyone is asking them questions, Jayden can't say anything because he doesn't know what is going to trigger her. And she has her hand on him. Even when he stood up to walk off to go and get a drink, she held his hand and followed him. And it's like, this is not healthy. I'm sorry, this is not healthy. The cracks are starting to show. They were play acting at the start of this, a couple, but now the truth is being shown, because you can see that the cracks are showing. You can see that Jayden is uncomfortable, and it's like he can't continue to please her. He should be comfortable speaking his truth. He can't be worried every single moment about how she's going to react to anything he says. And immediately the producers sort of, because they struggled to actually get into the room, and then they barely sat down to sort of have a conversation with the rest of the group, and they're called for dinner. And it's like, I want to see how far this goes. I want to see how much she can actually get away with manipulating him, because somebody needs to call her out. It's unacceptable for her to hide behind tears and say, oh, I'm very anxious, I'm very anxious. Why, if you know that it makes you anxious, why did you behave in that manner in the first place? Because had you not behaved the way you behaved, then no one would be calling you out. So she's worried that if Jayden tells people that she missed the flight and she didn't want him saying certain things to his family, then things are going to go left. And this is why she's now using her tears and her anxiety to sort of cover up for it. The producers are messy because they sat Timothy opposite, his nemesis, Tori, and it's like, why? We've already had round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 20. Please, let's move on. Anyway, Tori starts asking them about their home visit, how it went and where they went. And Lucinda was very sort of vague in her responses. I think she didn't want to say anything that would upset Timothy. And Tim, because he started wanting to explain what happened, he was asked, did you have anything planned for her? And he went, no. And so the more sort of Tori started asking questions, he then asked for a timeout, and he took Lucinda aside, and he made me want to cry. He really made me want to cry. I think he said a lot more. The producers, because they showed us the same clip 2 times, so I think they took out everything of substance that he said to her. But he apologized that I'm sorry, and I need you to call me out. when you see that I'm not behaving in the way that you want, call me out, call me a dickhead. I don't mind, but at least call me out, because now I feel bad that I've upset you and you are not being upset with me, so I don't know what to do. I think he expected Lucinda to ignore him when he walked in, or to be stroppy or whatever, and she wasn't. She was very accommodating and very understanding. So that sort of left him wondering. I think he's used to, if he does something wrong, he's used to people telling him off and yelling at him and telling him some of the worst things ever. So to have this person that he's upset not have anything mean-spirited to say to him or anything malicious, he's sort of lost. He doesn't know where to go, because I think he came in ready for battle and to sort of fight his way out of the battlefield. And so he's got his ammunition ready and he's just standing there, and the other person is looking at him and he's like, let's go to war. And she's like, no, I'm good. And this is why I really love their relationship. I know it might not be romantic because of what Lucinda wants, but I think with time and with therapy, the two of them actually going, they could actually be an amazing team that complements one another. The fact that he apologized, I think he said a lot more. I'm going to insist that he said a lot more, but the producers decided to hide it. And you could see Lucinda actually say, oh, it's very hard to stay angry with him, because how do you stay angry with him? He's managed to disarm her. Even her anger is gone away. And this is what I like about Timothy and Lucinda. Of all the couples in the experiment, yes, Timothy didn't like Lucinda at the start. He had his guard up. I think he had his guard up because he came into the experiment wanting to be married. Then when he saw the crystals with Lucinda and that chanting at the wedding, he was put off because he says that's something that he doesn't like. And then when he realized that there's more to Lucinda, he sort of shut down and didn't want to fall in love with her. I think because he was worried that if he did and she leaves him, he would be heartbroken. So because he's lost so many people, I think he felt he didn't have capacity for that. And then with her dad sort of growing on him, her dad having a conversation with him and letting him know that this is unacceptable, and then him opening up because he was told his behavior is unacceptable. I think this is why even now when he walked in, he says, oh, as soon as I walked in, I was so happy to see you. And it's like he knows she's an important asset in his life. He knows she's an important part of him. And this is why he feels the need to apologize and want to make things good, which, oh, I really love for that for them. I'm here for Ridge, the psychness, going into counselor mode. Because when Sarah and Tim were talking about their connection and how they enjoy their time at home and stuff, you could see that he was processing it. He put away his goofy persona and was really listening. And then he was trying not to make things worse like he did with Richard and Andy when he asked them. He asked the question that you need to ask. But at the same time, he needs to be mindful that some people are not ready to answer that question. And him asking the question might actually make things worse, which is what happened with Andy and Richie. So he asks, Tim, have you forgiven her? And Tim says he's on his way to forgiving her. There's no way he would have forgiven her just like that. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take a lot of input from Sarah. So I get where they're coming from. I think Sarah is just there to revamp her character now, because she even said in a confessional, oh, I feel like I'm a changed person from the person I was when I came into the experiment. Now, because Tim is relaxed around me, he can be himself. And in him being himself, I'm able to be myself. And it's like, please keep quiet. So everybody then turns to Ridge and Jade to sort of ask them how things went and if they had a great time at homestays. And so Jade sort of brings up the fact that she had a great time with Ridge, but her mum and sister were worried. And they have every right to be worried, because Ridge at times is very immature when he puts on that persona that, he likes to sort of, the way he behaves around his friends, it seems. Because even Jade said, at one time she went out with him and his friends were very inappropriate in some of the things that they were saying. This is why I said at times to me it comes across as though Ridge is putting on a persona to try and fit in with the cool kids. And sadly, that doesn't bode well, because they showed him talking about different sex positions. And it's like, in what context was he saying this? I think the editing made it seem like he was just blurting out these words out of nowhere. And Tori then to say, can you just be mature for one moment? And it's like, this is a lot of editing. I don't know why they've decided to edit Ridge in this way. I don't know whether it's because there was no drama between him and Jade. And so the only thing the producers could pick on or could hold on to was this issue of of him going D's and his immaturity and stuff. That's the way it comes across to me, because there's nothing else that stands out that makes me believe that he wouldn't be ideal for Jade. Obviously, everybody's nervous because Jade has got a child, so I don't know how that will play out. Next, they speak to Lauren and Jono to sort of find out how their homestay went, and they seem to be in a very good place because they say their homestay went great, and they actually, you know, reconnected sexually, because Lucinda asked them, did you make love? And they said yes. And you can see the way Lauren is behaving in regards to them having sex is totally different to Tori, because Lauren is someone who's very outspoken and very bubbly, and it's got a big, you know, personality. So to see her blushing, even Jono was saying, you know, you're blushing, whereas Tori was matter of fact, like, it's, you know, this is what you do when you go to work, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And so it's interesting for me. It's interesting to see, and it makes me think maybe Tori and Jack were lying and they actually didn't have sex, and because everybody, including his, you know, clients, criticized them, I think this is why they're making it seem like they had sex. It's interesting that Tori had opinions about Timothy and Lucinda and was the one asking questions about Timothy and Lucinda's homestay, yet when Timothy asks her about her homestay, she becomes defensive, because he asked the question I've been asking: did they make up the fact that they had sex just to sort of get out people off their backs? And she goes at him, oh, did you kiss Lucinda just because you wanted to get people off your backs? And it's like, no, answer the question. And I give credit to Timothy and to Sarah and to Lauren, because they held her feet to the fire and said, you only have a lot of vim for everybody else, but you've got no vim for the jackass sitting next to you. He can say and do whatever he wants, and you're just there like an idiot eating it all up. The fact that, you know, he says he has love for you, that's why Lauren said, I have love for my carburetor. That doesn't mean anything, because he is saying whatever he feels you need to hear. Even the experts picked up on the fact that he kept rubbing her knee, sort of like a signal to say, okay, respond, don't respond. He's manipulating her, and everyone can see that. And the fact that she thinks people are attacking her doesn't make sense. Oh, if you want, you can all laugh. No, we're trying to protect you. We're trying to save you from this idiot. And you continue to sort of eat up whatever he's giving you. Make it make sense, because it's not making sense. How can you continually be defending this jackass who continues to disrespect you, has nothing nice to say about you, has had sex with you after saying he wasn't attracted to you, and still hasn't got anything nice to say? Instead, he sent rage, of all people, as a wind emoji. Make that make sense. I don't get it, and I don't get, once this experiment finishes, I don't want to see you all. Well, we don't want to see you too, buddy, because you're going to be going through it. You'll need a stronger community than us. We are not going to save you. You yelled at us. You told us off. You called us all sorts of things, defending this idiot that's making you look like a fool on TV. And now he's saying he's got a room for you. How has he got a room for you? How? Lauren was right to say, is he going to be charging a rent? He should have space for you in his bed, not a room. Make it make sense. I don't get it. And I don't understand why she continues to put up with it. When everybody sort of turns to, you know, Eden and Jayden, Eden starts, oh my anxiety. And it's like, when people were talking, you were fine. Now that the target is aimed at you, you're now not fine. You're now having these panic attacks. I'm not saying she doesn't suffer from panic attacks or anxiety. I don't know her as a person, but it's too sort of convenient. It reminds me of that lady who was in the experiment and used to hear voices only when it's appropriate or when it's relevant to make a scene or whatever. This is what I get with Eden. Yes, she might be having panic attacks, but I think she's exaggerating it. The fact that she says, oh, you know, he's very argumentative, I am non-confrontational, this is why at times I just say yes, and it's like, please make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because at the end of the day, you two were fine and you're playing along with whatever act you're giving us up until you decided to involve yourself in Sarah's mess. And when it backfired on you, then you started having problems. I'm not buying what they're selling. They need to go home. Jayden deserves better. That's just my opinion. Jayden, sadly, it seems like he's a fixer and he doesn't understand that not everything can be fixed. And so this is why they're at an impasse. So I don't know. I hope they write leave on, you know, commitment ceremony on Sunday. We'll wait to see what happens. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 31. Bye guys.